We're back with Umineko today. It's been quite a bit. Let me check. Normally the load screen should tell us. Almost full on those, by the way. Yeah, it's been 6 days since the last time. That's quite a lot of time. But it doesn't mean that I forgot what I wanted to say. It doesn't mean anything because I just forgot. So, you know. we still got our trusty chart right where? What? Why is Umineko not fully... Why is the dialogue box cut off? No, it's normal, never mind. I thought it would fill the entire bottom bar, but no, it doesn't. I'm stupid. As I said, we got our trusty MS Paint shot, which, you know, is gonna be pretty useful. We figured out a few things last time, and that's about where we stopped. Eva turned to Beatrice too. I think that's pretty important. I thought, okay, I did bring it up. I thought that the Eva imaginary friend thing that we were talking about, right? That Eva imaginary friend was actually, what's the word? Eva imaginary friend is just Lambda Delta in secret, right? Pretending to be, you know, an imaginary friend in order to interfere with the game and get people to actually solve it. But it turns out that no, there was like an actual Eva imaginary friend that turned into a witch. And that turned out to be extremely evil and a piece of shit. But I also want to point out something that was said last time and that I'm just remembering now. When Beatrice said, or when Rosa said something around here, I think, let me check. But where did she say this? I know she said something around here. Where is she? Because I remember, okay, Rosa said something about 20 years ago she met Beatrice and killed Beatrice. Right? She said 20 years. But it's not showing up. That's like one of the things I should have recorded that I did not record. That's annoying. But still, Rosa says this, right? And I pointed it out a couple times that, you know, Renove proceeded to prove that it was the world 19 years previous, right? But then it turns out that I may have been wrong all along. Because, like, a bit ago in the last stream, it was brought up that it, like, Beatrice herself acknowledged it was 19 years ago and not 20. So I'm actually confused now. Do they actually mean, like, what's the timeline on Beatrice's death? That's my question. But besides that, let's go back to the game. We'll definitely get more answers and questions answered this time around. Pretty sure. We'll see. Right, Eva is dying off. He knew she's gonna take his hand away. What a dumbass. Ooh. It's actually finally calmed down. She wiped his own forehead. For a time, Eva had seemed to be having a very painful nightmare, but it appeared she had finally fallen asleep. As promised, he still gripped Eva's hand. He thought it might be time to let go pretty soon, but he faithfully continued to hold on. Every once in a while, his hand would get tired and he would switch between his right and his left. But even so, as promised, it didn't let go of her hand. At that time, there was a heavy knock. Eva had finally been able to fall asleep, so Hideyoshi grimaced for just an instant. Aniki! Hideyoshi! Sorry. Is Rosa there? Was Rudolph's voice. What could it be? Hideyoshi headed for the door, hiding his footsteps so that it wouldn't wake Eva. It was definitely Rudolph's voice, but just in case, he opens the door without removing the chain. What is it? Something happened to Rosa. We can't find Rosa or Maria. I thought they might be with you. I heard her scolding Maria in the corridor. They got quiet after that, so I thought they'd gone back to the lobby, but... Did they? That idiot. Rudolph clicked his tongue. Other people could be seen in the corridor. Rosa didn't return for a while after going out into the corridor, but it began to worry. Near the front door, Natsui pointed at the unset chain. The chain is unset. They must have gone outside to see that rose after all. Oh, extraordinarily careless. To go out and leave the door unlocked. What a troublesome person. So the door was left unlocked. The door to the guest house was left on. Okay. I'm more worried about Rosa and Maria themselves. Right. Hey, brats. Where was this Rosa Maria's? I'm pretty sure it was in the flower bed, right in the middle of the rose garden. If that's where they are, we should be able to spot them pretty quickly if we go. Dad, shouldn't we break them back here as soon as we can? Of course! We'll bring them back and give them a good spanking. I'll dash out there and come back. Lock the door as soon as I go out. Dad, I'll go with you. Don't be stupid. It's obviously a brat's job to watch over the house with Mama. He's dying. What is it? Did something happen? Sorry, did I wake you up? It was Rosa took Maria outside. Oh, reckless of her. Rosa and Maria? Outside? In the rose garden? That's right. Oh, did you hear? Maria was causing a ruckus because she wanted to see this rose. They mustn't go to the rose garden. Or is that to stop? There's no telling her to stop now. Looks like they left a while ago. Seriously. How reckless of them. That's not it. Not the rose garden. There's a witch there. And she's waiting for a sacrifice. Rosa, you mustn't go. Whoa. I shouldn't laugh, but those like deep moans that last for way too long are very funny to me. I shall say. Eva cowered again, holding her head. Her complexion looked very bad. What is it? Did the feather make you dream something bad? It's a dream. Yes. In the rose garden, there's a witch doing that. In Rosa and Maria. That's right, it's a dream. It must be. Calm down. I'm here in this room, and the chain is set. The shutters closed on the window, and we've even got a gun. This room is just like a fort. There's nothing to be afraid of. Hideyoshi beat his chest, trying to calm her, but Eva's insecure expression didn't change. Under the covers, Eva kept praying that the grotesque nightmare she just had was only a dream. Horrible torture scene, by the way. That was absolutely awful. In the center of the rose garden, Rudolph identifies the corpses of Rosa and Maria, which I'm gonna see right now. Oh. And that's new. Died in a rose garden with her medulla oblongata pierced by the spear-shaped part of the fence. If Maria's death hadn't been a clear homicide, it may have been possible to suspect an accidental death in Rosa's case. This woman was a human sacrifice for the birth of the new witch. Her corpse was found in the rose garden. The cause of her death was strangling, probably by bare hands. Circumstantial evidence makes it reasonable to assume that she was killed after Rosa. And her blood became the red ink for the witch's oath. But where's the stakes? Where are the stakes? Like normally, they got the key. Eva Triss got the key. So she has to travel to the Golden Land, which I think might not. I don't understand. Don't they need to do the ceremony in order? In order to be able to, No, never mind, never mind. They don't need stakes, because those are just the, two... Wait, right, no. Right here. It's this. It's the third Twilight. No, second Twilight. You just tear apart, it doesn't mention stakes. Actually, at no point in time does it mention stakes throughout all of this. Right? And I kept assuming that the stakes are like necessary in order to accomplish the ritual, but at no point during the ritual does it mention that the stakes need to be used in order or something. Or that they need a stake. I wish I could solve the riddle, but I'm really not smart enough. I'm pretty sure I'm just not smart enough for this game. Like, there's a lot of things about this game that I just cannot understand and that I won't understand, I feel, for like a long time. I want to see, like, I want to sit down, right, and try and solve the riddle by myself. But the issue with the riddle is that I have no way to know where to start. At all. I like trying to solve the locked rooms, because I feel like I have a way to start somewhere, but the riddle, it just feels like incomprehensible. I do not see at all what it means, and I fear, I know it's possible in English, but I fear that it's impossible to solve. Like, it's very hard to solve if you don't know Japanese, and you don't have access to the Japanese text itself. Right? It's supposed to be a kid's riddle, and kids' riddle typically work based on like wordplay to some degree. Anyways. After that, they returned to the guest house. Go for help! And carried both of them into the guest house. If you can trust Nanjo's examination, the cause of Rosa's death was a step to the medulla oblongata, with the pointed gate of the fence. It is thought that Maria's death was due to strangling with their hands. However, due to the devil's proof, we cannot miscount the misdiagnosis. That was said in red. Rosa and Maria died. The causes of death were as Nanjo diagnosed. He was then eaten by a spider. Oh, she crushed by a mountain of cake. He didn't say that in red, so it's possible. He didn't say it in red. They got crushed. Okay, we're gonna make a new section, right? So this is the first Twilight, and we're gonna make second Twilight over there. Here we go. She looks so apologetic. Look at this bride. She looks sad. To some degree, she looks pitiful. She realized that, like, no one fucking likes her. Don't worry. So you get it. Even though you toyed with her death so much, it's all fine because their corpse is neat and clean. I definitely won't forgive you. I definitely won't forget all that brutal treatment you gave on Rosa. So I won't forgive you. Like I said, that wasn't me. I believe I gave them a much more peaceful death than the way she treated them. Shut the hell up. I'm not talking to you. It was stated that there are no more than 18 people on site, and another 8 people are already dead. We can narrow the field of suspects down to 10. One of them probably killed us too. It was Battler all along. It was Battler. Battler did it. I still understand. Like, if I was Butler, I would not talk to Beatrice for like a billion years. Fuck her. That was awful what she did. Cheering. I know it's not her, but cheering that on was like absolutely awful. Could it also be an accidental death? Like, man, I was living in tantrum, and my aunt Rosa tried to stop her crying. I mean, just how much power she was using and accidentally killed her. Then she was so upset that she slipped and fell. Oh, fucking hell. Landed on the fence, and then Kaylee died. Okay, give me a second. I got massive hiccups, holy shit. This one is frequent. Alright, I'm gonna try and get rid of it. I got rid of it, okay. As I said, the way I got to get rid of hiccups is very foolproof. Essentially, you tell yourself you don't have it anymore, and you believe in it. And then suddenly you don't have it. It stopped, it's gone. Right? You don't hear me do it anymore. It's because I just believe. It's like Umineko, just believe in things as they become real. What was that? That way there's no need for a witch or magic. Well, that's not quite true. Actually, Rosa and Maria. Shut up. Didn't I say I wasn't talking to you? You're an eyesore, so disappear. You monster. Butler said that without rage, with a horribly cold voice. That strange behavior was something Beto had noticed right off the bat. In the fight, both of them could go at each other without restraint. However, he wouldn't even step into the ring. He could feel that coldness. Beto didn't find that amusing. She thought about flaring out, but she held back. Maybe even though she was innocent and childish, she had enough sense to realize that she shouldn't pick fights. Yeah, like the further along the story we get, the more I realize that Beatrice is essentially like 10-year-old. She acts a person who has been locked away in a secret mansion for 20 years would act. Right? Is that so? Then I'll vanish. Renave, continue for me. Certainly. Will that be satisfactory, Butler? Yeah, no problems with proposal. The Butler doesn't want to see Beato's face. Perhaps that will do. Do what you like. If I gotta live without seeing that monster's face, I don't care about anything else. Hey, wait a second. He keeps saying monster, monster. But isn't that a cruel way to speak of me? What do you instinctively hate me so much, Butler? Even though none of that was me. Even though all of that was the work of my disciple. It's not like I'm only mad about what happened just now. It's been like that from the very beginning. Hey, Butler! Don't misunderstand, okay? Aren't we just a pair of players confronting each other for a game? We look for moves to make things painful for each other, but... Don't get the wrong idea. I don't hate you because you're my rival in this strange game about whether I accept you as a witch or not. I just can't forgive how senselessly cruel you are. Well, serial murders are a part of this game. It's probably impossible to avoid a little cruelty. And not just talking about what just happened. It was the last time, and the time before that too. Tearing everyone's stomachs open and stuffing them with sweets, plowing with faces. Okay. In Beatrice's defense, in both cases, it's been made clear that all this body, like, all that suffering that was shown, right, was done posthumously. Blowing everyone's faces, right, was stated that it happened after they died. As far as we're concerned, no. I was about to say everyone died peacefully, but I forgot that like a lot of people got like shot in the stomach or something and then died from that. Which, you know, it's pretty awful. But no, it's not tearing everyone's stomach tier of like awful, right? It's not. It's fine. In a game where people have to die, getting shot in the stomach and dying is fine. Compared to, you know, whatever the fuck Beatrice just did, right? In Beatrice's defense, all her cruelty was applied after death. Never mind, I forgot about the end of episode 2. When she tortured everyone for the sake of convincing Rosa that she's real. Never mind, I'll stop defending her. Fuck her. She sucks. She sucks. What was the point of all that? That's... Well... When it comes to closer murders and tricks and alibis, I'm willing to give you a pass. You want to claim that this is a murder done by magic? I'll grudgingly accept that those complicated crimes need to occur. But what exactly is the point of all those grotesque murders? Well, nothing much. That's right, they don't mean anything. You're just fooling around by mangling the corpses for fun. That has nothing to do whether you're a witch, or whether it could or couldn't be done with magic. You're just exploring the depths of cruelty for fun. This isn't about whether you're a witch or anything like that. They're just something I can't forgive as a human. What? What do you mean, as a human? For example, the 6 people of the first Twilight for this game. Well, over that grandfather being burnt black, the other corpses were killed in a normal way, without any unnecessary shaming of the dead. I don't think... Okay, I don't think it's cruel to maim a body post-death, right? Like, they're already dead. The only people who are hurting is the family who are going to see the body. Which, you know, that is cruel. But it's not cruel to the victims. The victims are already dead. They don't care anymore, they're dead. Wasn't clear whether the weapon was a spear or a gun, but anyway, as far as killing goes, that was acceptable. It was much better than the nonsensical grotesqueness and cruelty from the first Twilight last time, or the time before that. And this time, there were 6 closed rooms tied together to make a closer chain. It was sort of interesting. When we were going back and forth with each other that time, to be perfectly honest, I thought it was just a little fun. You were frantic to make me accept your existence, and I was frantic trying to deny it. We were both frantically doing all we could. This may sound weird, but I felt a faint sense of sportsmanship between the two of us. We exist in conflict, but I faintly thought that we might not be completely unable to understand each other's existence. The victim watching right now in the waiting room. Right, because like when they die, they wait outside or some shit, right? They're all having tea while they wait for the game to end, because this is purgatory. This is Watch can repeat the scenario endlessly. Right. Poor person. Alright. Besides that. Well, just now, that feeling was blown away without a trace. That's what you're misunderstanding. That wasn't me. That's not it. That's not what I'm talking about. You watched Rosa being killed horribly over and over, and you sneered at it like it was an interesting show. When I saw that, I was deeply disappointed in you. And I realized that the decision to kill them in a slightly better way this time was nothing more than a faint whim, and that nothing had changed in your cruel character. I was deeply disappointed. On the contrary, you are even genuinely enjoying this brutal death. You aren't just actually cruel to bully me. You truly, genuinely enjoy cruelty. Your character lets you enjoy it. You said I probably think that only Rosa being brutally killed over and over was fun. You weren't joking. You enjoyed it from the bottom of your heart, wanted me to sympathize. You said that I would probably find it fun. At an instant, I lost respect for you and realized the truth. The problem isn't whether you're a witch or not. I will not forgive the cruelty of yours. And I can't understand it. I can't forgive it either. Still, I continue this game of whether to accept or deny witches. I won't step down and accept my own defeat. However, Your pointless cruelty is absolutely unnecessary for that game. So I've decided that I won't accept you as my opponent. Ronove is 100 times better. He doesn't have the same cruelty you do. Even if you do, he doesn't have this awful taste to show it off in front of me. That's right, you have awful taste. You're artless and cruel, so you can't understand. That's unpleasant in an opponent, so I don't want to see your face again. As Bladder went on and on by himself, Beato was shocked into silence for a long time. Maybe she couldn't understand what she was being told. This was a sign that she was doing all she could in an effort to understand. Look at her face. For a while, she kept switching between angry, frustrated, and bold expressions. And so even she herself didn't know what attitude she should take. In the end, she made her face into a candid expression, as though she had come to her senses, and shrugged her shoulder as though she was tired. What's she gonna say? Is she gonna apologize? Is she gonna become a better person? Is she gonna become a better person and improve and become like cool and epic? That's the real question. In that case, do as you like. From now on, I will continue this game for Ronove. You have no complex as long as I don't show myself, right? For the time being. But I definitely won't forget all your cruel actions up until now. I definitely won't accept you. For that reason as well. I won't back down from this fight you've picked. And I definitely won't lose. That's all there is to it. Beato, no matter how many more excuses you give, his impression will not waver. I have something to talk about later. Until then, stay back. Indeed. Understood. Then I'll vanish until you call. Looking lonely, Beato turned her back to them and vanished. Butler watched, with a slightly displeased expression on his face. He thought his argument had been valid, but for some reason his mood didn't clear up. They fell in love with each other. Oh, popular. I know that Popo in chat is like a pro at this. Oh, popular is the Battler x Beatrice ship. That's the real question, and I would love to Google it, but I don't think I should. I think this is like the last thing I should Google about Umineko, because that is a terrible thing to think about, to search about. I'm gonna get a billion spoilers if I do this. Anyways, sponsored by Google. Sadly, Google cannot sponsor because it would spoil me everything. I would type Umineko and I would get an AI review that just tells me everything that happens in it. I don't know anything more about Umineko now. I think the only things that had been spoiled on Umineko beforehand, before I started reading, was Red Truth, Beatrice's existence, and Evatrice. Those are the only things that had been spoiled about. I do not know anything else about Umineko from that point on. I think I saw Umineko a couple times on TV tropes, but I forced myself to forget, and I managed every time. You don't want to know. Oh, they are. Just tell me how common is a ship. Like, how much do they ship each other? That's the real question. That's true. An idiot. A straightforward one. That idiot watched Aunt Rosa get killed horribly with me, then turned around with a huge smile on her face. She really believed that she could laugh with me. That cruel show. I refuse. Aww. She really believed that I could sympathize with that emotion. Looking at that innocent smile, I felt just horrible. I really think it's gonna be enemies to lover. I really think Umineko is gonna end with Butler and Beatrice marrying each other. I know it. I know it. This is gonna be the case. It would have been much better if you'd said it with your normal bullying face. Damn it. Milady has never had the experience of having a friend. In addition, she probably never had spoken to her that strongly. Madame and I are her attendants. No matter what we say, it will not reach her ears. But milady, this is also... Don't screw with me. I don't remember ever becoming her friend. That's true enough. My apologies. Does he know? He doesn't know. There's one thing I would like to thank you for. Thank you for not backing down from that child's game. She spoke words of gratitude, but for some reason, Butler made a displeased face. Then, as though in self-derision, he chuckled. Now I have even got witches and demons making me. I'm screwed. Let's resume the game. Of course, I don't intend to go easy on you. I wouldn't have it any other way. And like milady, I do not get agitated. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right? I get that Butler is upset at Beatrice, but this is like infinitely worse for him. Because Renove is calm, composed, and smart. Which is the worst three traits you could have in a game of chess for your opponent, right? You would want them to be agitated, prone to making mistakes, and, you know, easy to upset. That proving point being like the first Twilight, where Beatrice got so upset at trying to defend herself, she essentially gave away that she doesn't think, that she thinks some people on the island are not qualified as human. She basically gave that away. So, you know, having Renove said is not gonna be a good thing for Butler. I've already made my move. If we suppose that Aunt Rosa is the culprit and died in an accident, I can deny the witch. I don't want to suspect Aunt Rosa, but I think we can better accept the premise if it will beat the hell out of Vito. I will deny it with red. Rosa admires deaths or homicides. Okay, that's a strong one. There you go. Okay. Alright. Let's start from there. Damn, I'm just not getting fired up. With Rosa's and Maria's death, it was now clear that the culprit was still hiding somewhere, trying to add even more murders to his chain. As he shed tears, Rudolph scolded Rosa's course for being careless, for being reckless several times, but Rosa would never respond to that again. They decided to place the two corpses in one of the guest rooms and to seal it until the police arrived. The second murder? No, just the murder of the second Twilight had delivered a heavy blow to everyone. That blew away the optimism that some of them had held. The thought that a crime didn't actually occur and was all a game or farce by Kinzo and the servants. Trying to distract themselves from the loss of the people they liked, George and Jessica spent the whole time since morning talking about every possibility. And they had distracted their hearts by supposing that these murders might actually have all been an act, and that Shannon and Kenan were only pretending to be dead. When the next murder occurred, it destroyed thought. And they were once again struck by the fact that the person they liked had most definitely been killed. Okay, you wanna... I will bet you something. The reason why Eva is feeling terrible and Rosa died. You wanna know it? There was anthrax inside the vault. There was a biochemical weapon hidden inside the vault, and when they opened it, they got infected, they got drugged by it, and then it was like a slow-acting poison that made Rosa pass out, slip onto the railing, and die. Which is not an accident, because she died from the biochemical weapon. Which means it is an homicide. And if Rosa killed Maria, then that's also an homicide, right? So, that also explains why Eva is like stuck in bed and has been having weird dreams too, right? If she's been poisoned by like something really bad after going down there. Here, I'll write it. I know it's complete bullshit and I know it makes no sense. Like, let me be clear. I know it's not true. But there's a chance. Eva is passed out and ill. Rosa strangled Maria, then passed out from the anthrax, falling onto the railing and dying. All homicide. Okay. And I'm gonna put a small no, because this is absolutely not what happened. There we go. After that, all of the adults had checked that all of the rooms were safe and locked, just in case. They made certain that the shutters on all the windows were down and locked. They confirmed that no one suspicious was hiding anywhere. That's pretty important, okay? On top of that, we checked their weapons once again. And checked with each other to make sure they were mentally prepared, so that they wouldn't hesitate to fire a preemptive shot if they saw the shadow of a mysterious person. Yeah, Rosa's death is weird, because if it's someone else... Okay, wait. Where did the stab wound come from? What is the medulla oblongata? Let me see. That's pretty important for one reason. No. Doesn't show a direction. Because the important point, what I'm searching, right, is the angle of entry of the sphere, of the fence. If it came from the front of the throat, right, then that means you got pushed from the back onto the railing. If it came from behind the neck, that means you would have fallen. And if she was shoved, that would mean she would have been shoved in the stomach. Which would mean either they saw the murderer come at them and stayed there until the murderer shoved them, without ever shooting at the murderer, or Maria did it. Maria pushed her. Right? Maybe Maria was coerced into pushing Rosa, which I really think that if the stab wound comes from the neck, there's only one possibility. Maria shoved Rosa for one reason or another, and then Maria got killed. That's the only way to explain how Rosa would not be able to shoot the gun. Because the first thing Rosa would do is point the gun at the person rushing towards her and shoot if they come too close. Because that 90% they do not know. There's no way she would let someone push her, or at least be in pushing distance. Except for Maria. Right? But again, we don't know. If it comes from the throat, then it can be anyone. It can either be Maria pushing from the back, or it can be a random guy who was hiding in a bush and just came out. From the back, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing as the second Twilight of the episode 2. Where it didn't actually matter, but they brought up that when Jessica was stabbed in the back, it means she turned her back to someone, and therefore she trusted that person. Right? They made a point of pointing that out. And I think it was a salient point, if not for the fact that it doesn't matter in our case. But it does matter a lot here. The direction of entry matters a lot. And I'm upset that we don't see it. Hey, give me a minute. I want to check something. I'm gonna take a screen of the murder scene. It's gonna take a bit. I'm gonna skip forward. Can you get rid of the two? It looks like she fell after being pushed forward. It looks like she was pushed on the torso. This is bad. This is bad for Maria. I did not want to doubt Maria, but this is very much calling things into question here. Okay. Okay. Come on. Okay. We're gonna see it. Come on. No. Wait, what? Okay. Yeah, I tried to take a picture, but they didn't let me. I don't think it's a good picture. Never mind, it's not bad. It's not that bad. Yep. Yeah. Right here. Let me put it like 40. And I have to write this. Blue for my theory, as per usual. Maria pushed Rosa. No. Wait. Yeah. Because the stab wound came from is entered from the back of her neck. There's no way you would let anyone get in shoving distance from the front unless it was Maya without shooting. Like it has to be the case. Okay, give me a second to move this. Here we go. Perfect, okay. Like, if the corpse was turned around, sure. But look at the boots. They're pointing up. This only means one thing. She got pushed from the front. And therefore, Maya is the murderer here. Which would explain two things. Here. It is reasonable to assume that she was killed after Rosa, right? By strangling. So, I don't know why Maria did that. But like, Maria is the one who led Rosa outside in the first place. So, yeah, that's a complicated one. I need more info. I'm check with each other to make sure they were mentally prepared, so that they wouldn't hesitate to fire off a preemptive shot if they saw the shadow of a mysterious person. Rosa's gun had been found near the scene of the crime. Someone had gone out of their way to leave it there, so everyone suspected it was some kind of trap. But when Hideyoshi delicately used the firearm to fire off test shots, he was able to discharge without incident. So, since the 5 shots loaded into it had been discharged without any problems, they reloaded it with bullets and handed it over to the only adult male who was unarmed, Hideyoshi. However, the fact that it was able to fire off 5 shots gave rise to a certain paranoia. The short barrel Winchester could only hold 5 shots. Ah! Here we go. In other words, Rosa had not even fired even once. And yet, the two had been probably killed by someone with their bare hands. This meant there was a possibility that the crime had been committed by someone whose face they knew. When the first murder occurred, I privately thought it was a possibility that it was all an act. Yeah, right, so like, I want to point it out, right? You could also make the argument, the very easy argument, that Rosa would let anyone that is of the family approach, right? But that's not true. Because when Rosa and Eva were in the garden after finding the vault, Rosa was holding the gun and almost pointing it at Eva. The second Eva like started acting weird. Rosa is way too paranoid to let anyone approach her besides Maria. Rosa is the only... Rosa is like extremely paranoid. The only person she trusts is Maria. Therefore, Maria did it. And then she got killed by someone else. Probably she was convinced to push Rosa, and then the person who convinced her came and strangled her. I think I've already said this, but I'm just restating it to counter their arguments. It's a shame they can't hear me, because then they would notice how intelligent and cool I am and be forced to like stop the game because I figured out everything. Right? Right. My apologies to Dr. Ninja. If he had actually been an accomplice, I thought the deaths of all those fathers, all those servants, might possibly have been a massive, elaborate act by father. After all, the closing situation they were in couldn't have been created unless we suppose that it was all an act. We also suspected that. No, I still want to believe that's the case. My apologies, but that is not so. I am quite old. I might possibly make a misdiagnosis. Whatever. I would never mistake whether we were alive or dead. I get it! Don't go out of your way to say that loud, Dr. Nenjo. My apologies. We never saw the pride of Jessica before. That's the first time we see it. We had no way of knowing. But Beato had already used the red to proclaim the deaths of the sick. No, the deaths of all victims so far in this game. That faint dream that it was all a farce, that the victims were actually alive. I'm sorry to say it, but that's impossible. In that case, it makes more sense to assume it's someone familiar with the mission. Someone hiding around carrying out a really well-polished crime. So ever since the Titan came to this island and filled it up from the outside world, there's been more than 18 people here. Of course, there was no way for them to know about that either. That claim of Rudolph's had also been denied in red. There are no more than 18 humans on this island. Give me a second, I want to check something. Let me check something. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Okay. Sorry, I had to check something. Alright. I was checking. I had a flash of inspiration in regards to episode 2, and I had to check the episode 2 chart. But it turned out to be bad info. So, never mind. I just wasn't sure about the red truth from episode 2. I misremembered the red truth. You know? And I had to check. I might have a way to look at it that keeps being consistent, at least a little. Simply put, this person in hiding is someone who shouldn't really be on this island right now. And yet, there's a high likelihood that there was someone Rosa's son knew. Someone should let their guard down around. Impossible. So for example, could it be a servant who wasn't on this 2-day shift? Have to be certain about that one. When our servants finish their work and leave the island, it isn't as though we punch a ticket or something to make sure. If we're supposing that a servant on the ship from a few days ago only pretended to leave the island and actually stayed here, it would be up to deny. I don't think Rosa is such a fool. If the servant wasn't supposed to be here propped up in front of you, who wouldn't be on the guard? I'm not even sure we should be assuming that it was someone she recognized. Maybe they suddenly attacked Rosa from the darkness when we were about to steal a gun. Rosa fell, hit her head against the fence, and stopped moving. The guest house was nearby if they wanted to avoid the sound of gunfire. They killed Maria with their bare hands. There's also that possibility. Still, even if that is the case, would they really intentionally leave Rosa's gun at the scene of the crime? We don't know what the culprit's armed with, but they've got to feel insecure about our guns. Wasn't that a perfect chance for them to steal out a supply? Why would they intentionally leave it at the scene of the crime? At first, I thought that gun was a trap. That's what Sheffield thinking says it should be. By purposefully leaving it, they wanted to make one of us touch it. And they must have wanted to make us pull the trigger. I was sure that something dangerous had been done to it, to make it explode and cause massive injuries. But it was actually okay. The culprit probably panicked. I'll bet that right now they're regretting that they missed the chance to steal a gun. I don't like it. It ticks me off, like it's a message from the witch, saying she isn't even scared of guns. However, in any event, this is surely a fearsome opponent. Even at a glance, they should have been able to tell if Rosa had a gun. Think that they attacked her despite that. The fact that they aren't afraid of guns should not be taken lightly. Indeed. It does not so say. We should probably be even more cautious than we have been. This is just for peace of mind, but at the time we think Rosa was attacked outside, where was everyone? That's you and I were here, along with Rudolph and Curie. I can guarantee their alibis. Emma and I were together. I can guarantee that. Joel, Jessica and I were together. Rosa yelled at us to return to the second floor. We retraced ourselves back to the cold room, all dejected. Back then, we couldn't let Maria go. Saying that isn't going to change anything. Dr. Nanjo? I was reading a book in a room on the second floor. I was by myself, so no one could verify my alibi. But I believe everyone saw me return to the second floor with the children. Once I say this, it will never end. But what if you jump out the window, but that goes up, then climb back up using Ren Gunner or something? Don't be absurd! How could I perform a feat such as jumping down from the second story or climbing up with this old body? Impossible, yeah. I genuinely think it's not possible. Let us stop suspecting each other. It's more important that we trust each other, and for the children's sakes as well. Defend this place until the very end. You're right. It's like that's what he says. But now let's stop suspecting each other. That's right. We may be useless as far as searching for the culprit is concerned. We can only stay alive until tomorrow, inform the police, and follow their instructions. Because the police will definitely expose who the culprit is. What is it, Eva? Is your body still feeling bad? Mother, what's wrong? Are you okay? Sorry. It looks like my fever is still strong. I'll be fine, so leave me alone. When they looked, they saw Eva staring at the floor, her breathing harsh again. She had been able to act firm for a time due to the urgency of the situation, but it seemed her body wasn't at its best after all. Yeah, I killed those two. Now we're the only ones who know about the goal. I won't give up even a scrap to the other siblings. What have you done? There was so much of the gold, right? Even those that in love with their shit wouldn't have been a problem at all, right? It would. The gold is to be passed on only to the head of the Ushiromia family. That's because it, as a whole, possesses no more or less than the owner of the head. It won't that even a tiny bit. It's definitely not something that I, the new golden witch, Beatrice, will permit. I think we should kill her. She's so much worse than the old Beatrice. Do you plan to continue these murders according to the witch's epitaph? Do you actually plan to become a murderer 5 more times? Yeah? If I don't finish that annoying ceremony, it seems my power as a witch won't become complete. Hey, me? The power of the witch is really awesome. It really can make all the crazy things we imagine become reality. It's the power to make dreams more than just dreams. Now that I've learned of this power, I can no longer stop being a witch. If I can finish the ceremony and make that power complete, I'm sure I'll be able to teach you that feeling too. I really hope they stop the ceremony this time. I really, really hope Eva Beatrice does not come up ever again. I really hope she dies in this episode and doesn't appear anymore. Stop like a fool! Haven't you played at being a witch enough? We found the gold! We've even been promised the position of the successor! We'll probably need to tap the wall for a bit, but by now, it's a dream that will definitely come true! Beyond that, what more could you wish for? I wanted to become a witch. I don't give a damn about that dream. That's right. Because I kept holding on to that dream. I've lived at this age forever. When you become an adult, you threw that dream away. No matter how long you wait, the rabbit holding the cloud won't visit you. You won't be able to meet Humpty Dumpty. Of course, you definitely won't be invited to the land of the cards. Because you gave up and accepted all that, you became an adult. So you don't want to become a witch or anything like that anymore. You've even forgotten that it truly was your own dream at one point. Anyway, stop it! I've already gotten my hands on 2 dreams. The gold and the position of head. More than enough. But please, your dream has nothing to do with me. Stand down! No way! Magic's too interesting! Also, those 2 dreams of yours both came true because of my magic. It wouldn't be fair if my dream didn't come true too. I'm grateful for your magic, and I acknowledge that you're a real witch. So just stand down and return to the inside of my heart. I'll never appear again. Huh? What's up? Hi, Slav. Yeah, so... Eva turned into a witch. No way. We're both misunderstanding each other, aren't we? That's right, I am not you anymore. You're sure me Eva. I'm the Golden Witch, Beatrice. So it's not my responsibility to go back inside your heart. I guess I feel like a butterfly who's working out of a cocoon, meaning you. Fever. It's making my mind cloudy. My inexperience in magical power is forcing me to support it with your vitality. Until I finish the ceremony and become a full witch, you might have to bear the burden. I'll take that as payment for making 2 of your dreams come true. You know what to do, Eva. Eva, you know what to do. Eva. Please. Eva. You know it. The solution. You need to kill yourself. And I don't say it as like a mean thing. I mean it genuinely. Eva needs to kill herself. That's the only way for everyone to win. It's fine, don't worry, okay? For the remaining 5 sacrifices, I'll avoid your family. Let's see, Rudolph, Kiri, Frost, Natsui. After that, what about that old geezer, Nanjo? Perfect, I'll kill those 5 people! You think you call this a murder announcement revealed only to you? And then she fucking dies. Eva finally crouched down. Hideyoshi rushed up to her and leant to her shoulder. Are you okay? Let's take it easy and rest. Are you alright? Dr. Nanjo, take a look at Eva. When Nanjo and Joel try to approach, Eva made a gesture to stop them. Thank you. I'm fine, Dr. Nanjo. I'm taking medicine. I apologize for saying this, sir, during such an extreme situation. But let me rest a little longer. Mom, I'll lend a hand too. Thank you, but I will be fine as long as your father watches over me. Go back to the second story cousin's room. It will come out no matter what. Understood? No matter what happens, you must not leave the guest house. Outside. That which will. That wasn't a moan of pain. That was a moan of pleasure. You can't fool me. Don't talk anymore. Sorry everyone, but I'll be watching over Eva in our room. I assume something happens. Hideyoshi and Eva retreated from the lobby. However, Eva wasn't the only one who wasn't feeling good. They hadn't gotten a wink of sleep since the previous night, and had been pressed by tension since that morning. They were mustering their energy to protect their families. But if they relaxed even a little, surely everyone would be done and out. Everything has gone as planned until now, but from here on out, it will become difficult, you see? Difficult meaning... Indeed. Normally, as the ceremony progresses and the victims increase in number, we begin to tighten the guard, and in most cases, they all up in one place and stop moving. That is extremely inconvenient for us. Are you saying that we witches are inferior to a bunch of humans in a group? Witches are never inferior to humans? Oh, fuck. However, perhaps you could say that time changes, that humans have gotten their hands on a poison. This wasn't a problem long ago when people believed in witches, but just like that annoyance battler, people of the current era deny magic on a fundamental level. In other words, their existence itself is anti-magical. As a result, at some point, they grew to possess a toxin inside their bodies that denies magic. In other words, you're saying that the more humans there are, the stronger the magic-resisting toxin gets, and the greater the disadvantage is for us witches. The combined amount of power in their hearts that denies magic. In other words, the magic resistance power becomes the denominator in the equation of your magic's power. Understand? Is that a bit too difficult for you? You're joking. Actually, I understand it easily. In other words, you're saying that the more people there are who don't believe in magic, and the stronger their will is, the more the effects of magic are divided. Yeah, if it's so formulae, I'll have to rethink my method of attack. Fundamentally, magic possesses a vast power. He can even make a rain of fire fall from the heavens or divide a sea. And reviving a lost life isn't impossible ever. Either. However, that power is extremely weak against the toxin that rejects it. And that toxin started piling up in humans since the time they forgot to respect things sacred. Until finally the earth, was covered with enough toxins that the miracles of magic could not be displayed. Thus, witches from across the world were chased from their dwellings. They had been forced to choose to throw away their magic and live as humans, or else live in hiding in remote areas where the toxins of humans didn't reach. In that sense, Rokkenjima, whose population of only a few dozen humans, was extremely favorable for witches. And even more favorable was the existence of the ghost story about the witch who lived in the Rokkenjima forest. In other words, by permeating the island with a fear that the witch might exist, the magic-resisting toxin from the humans was weakened. A small population, and room for them to acknowledge magic beings. In other words, minds that were only weakly anti-magical. Only by existing in the valley where those two converged, did the witch live in modern times. I see. So using this formula, we can arrive at several rules for how a witch can use her power efficiently. The first is presentation. Create a murder scene that couldn't conceivably have been done by humans, decorated in a local way. Make it look very much like a witch exists, and permit people with fear to make them believe that witches exist. As a result, the anti-magic power and the denominator for our magical power will be decreased. I see. But this is why the creepy magic circles of the first Twilight were created. That's right, exactly. The golly scenes for the first Twilight in each game are all for that reason. Definitely not as though I like being cruel, or I'm doing it for fun. She's still upset. In that case, predecessor, you fell this time around. You killed them in a very plain way. It doesn't look like anything more than a simple mystery. I heard about last time, the time before that from Renove. You'd have damaged the corpses more grotesquely, like you did then, making it look more like fantasy and instilling fear in those people. Well, about that. I thought it wouldn't be artful to do that every time, you see. Don't think too deeply on it, it's just a whim. Actually, it really had been a whim. After what Valor had said to her, she couldn't say it out loud anymore. But she really had decided on methods of killing spared on mere whims. Now, would it be better to say that she had effortlessly let Renove decide? Through them from the giant witch spires. Through! Get Gungnir, the spear from the gods, to stab each individual person on this island. That's how you do it. After all, she left the closed rooms of this game's first Twilight to him. But if she'd had a cruel idea, then she would surely have explored the limits of atrocity even worse than in the previous games. Matching Rokkenjima of Beatrice. Told me to show some restraint when deciding Rosa's and Maria's death too. But that wasn't a course of action beneficial to us witches either, was it? In actuality, by now, none of them believe one bit that a witch actually exists. Be sure that it's a mystery, not a fantasy. This sort of event is a failure from a witch perspective. For some reason, you keep doing things in a kind of lukewarm way, predecessor. Like they say, things you learn when you're young will definitely help you out in the future. This is the test passed on from my predecessor to you. Taking on with respect. Whoa! Beetle tried to laugh artfully, but it was obviously the fake laugh of someone trying to cover something up. As the new witch shrugged with a sigh. At this stage, it's probably too late to create a scene and reduce the anti-magic power. In that case, there's another move. Getting the humans to split up should work. Indeed, that's probably the most effective way. The smaller the number of humans, the more the denominator shrinks. As a result, the magical power functions instantaneously. In other words, it all begins from one point. But to destroy this barricade situation, I'd have them split up into small groups. What? What? Okay. Okay. Sure. However, they are already very cautious. The barricades won't be destroyed easily, right? There was a barricade in Kinzo's study 2 games ago, and the barricade in the party last time were very stubborn. Furthermore, most of the cutting adults still remain this time. The situation is more difficult than all the ones before it. Understand? If you wish, I could give you some special advice. In a close circle, the first murder case occurs. The survivors always hold up. Let me check, yeah. Gathering together to observe each other and ensure their safety. And you're enough. Not only do mystery authors and moral culprits worry about how to break the situation apart, but so do witches, who supposedly exist at the other end of the spectrum. For a while, so the witch poked her cheek with her pointer finger, and after acting as though she was playing something, she spoke. No, I'm fine. After all, it is a test. Don't borrow your moves. What, really? Still, it would be rather difficult to defeat this barricade, right? I've already made my move. I'm pretty sure it'll work. And it will definitely work on someone smart. Is that so? You really are excellent. I'm pleased to see that my discipline will be causing me much trouble. I'm more likely to study things myself before asking other people. And if you would excuse me, I have to wait for my prey to get lured out. Indeed. Now then, handle it with care. As the new witch lowered her head, her face blank, she turned into gold butterflies and vanished. Vito didn't look happy at all. She seemed to be lonely because of how little she was being relied on. Not one of them gives a fleek for me. You witch apprentice, acting so smart. I'll bet she makes some painful mistake and start crying. But then, without a doubt, you finally realize my greatness. Just beg me to teach her. Until then, I shall watch from on high. She laughed loudly on the outside, but a laugh no one can hear is completely pointless. Vito gave up and quickly stopped laughing. Renovation had time to show himself. Excuse me, my lady. The game of the second Twilight Battler has ended. I see. Good work. What was the result? My sincere apologies. I was forced to resign. By saying you read that both deaths were homicides, and that Battler somehow revised his claim of Rosa strangled Maya to death, and died in an accident. But I could not repeal his chain of moves, placing Eva as the principal offender. What? Wasn't Eva sleeping in her rooms all the time as Hideyoshi cared for her? It put forth the possibility that Hideyoshi was an accomplice, and that the two worked together to create an alibi. He even suspects Hideyoshi? When you have struck back by saying I read that he was in the guest room at the time of the murder? Also thought of that, but multiple important pieces might have been taken several moves later. And because this move might be connected to the new Beatrice's Sama's strategy, I acted out of respect to her. My apologies. Strategy, you say? Her mind does seem to be sharp. We can let her do as she pleases. It will be quite a show to see how far she can go. I thought you would say that. I see that the young cuteness of his disciple has left you in a bad mood. Disciple. I keep saying disciple. That's none of your business. I wonder how that one plan to destroy this barricade goes through. Oh, that one plans. As a verb, okay. I shall keep a close eye on her. Oh, and what was Battler's move? It appeared as though he had calmed down and settled down. He did say that he couldn't get fired up after all, without you as his opponents. Really? Well, it's no surprise! No surprise at all! If I don't return for the fourth Twilight and after, Battler will probably be lonely himself. And with that, if you will excuse me, I need to go bake some delicious cookies. That must at least enliven the discussion between you and Battler, milady. Indeed! That guy really was munching your cookies, wasn't he? It's no surprise that the boy can eat so much. Make a lot of them! Certainly. I shall make enough cookies to blur his table. That sounds great! I'm glad to hear, Beatrice. I'm glad to hear. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here. I am feeling increasingly tired. And, oh, wait. Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst when you need to sneeze, but you can't. It is absolutely awful in every way. Oh my god. Okay, besides that, I'm gonna stop here for today. I don't know what's going on. I just got like a wave of fatigue and my head hurts. So I'm gonna stop here for now. Sorry for cutting it so short, but it's very tiring to read out a visual novel, and if I'm not like in peak form, it's nearly impossible to continue. Have a good night, everyone. Bye bye.